Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morale is high.
Yeah.
And if it isn't, Command Sergeant Major Parker will fix that for you in short order. I begged to get the coveted last speaker before a lunch slot. And I'm really happy to be here. It's unreal. Mike was reading my bio. It's been 5 years since I've been here, and it's just gone by like that. You've always made me feel welcome and comfortable, and you didn't hold back asking hard questions, and I don't expect that to stop either. But it's just an honor for me to be here with you today. So I was taught in all of these leadership courses to do three things: to be brief, to be bright, and then most importantly, to be gone. So what I have to tell you today, to share with you today, is not going to be lengthy, but I hope you will see and you will hear that it will be hard-hitting, okay? Because I don't like to fool around. As a squad leader, one of the things I learned, first day I became an NCO, I was told, if you have to ask how to do it, we don't need you. You got to figure it out, you got to implement, you got to make things happen, because that's what we do. So, I started working with VA, this was said in 1993. Now, if you can go back to that point in time, there was still a lot of World War II veterans around, not quite as many today. Vietnam veterans were applying, some of them for the very first time, for benefits. Why do I know this? Because I looked at their claims, I adjudicated them. That's how I started in this business. Even back then, the whole issue of Agent Orange was live and well. So here, fast forward, 26 years later, we're still talking about it, okay? Through that time, I've lived through a slew of conditions secondary to exposure to Agent Orange being added to the presumptive list, okay? I know you're very familiar with that. I don't want to belabor that point, but in my career, something is just about to happen that we never thought would. I think you know what I'm talking about. Blue Water Navy, absolutely, absolutely. So picture yourself in a car with a manual transmission, the engine's running, it's in gear, your foot's off the brake, you got your other foot on the clutch, and you're slowly starting to let it up. That's where we're at. That's where we're at with Blue Water Navy. Literally, I'm on a call on this weekly. Literally, we're about 10 days away from starting to process those claims.
How much gas is in the car?
Full tank. Full tank, and the engine's ready to go. All right. So, the details of the legislation, I don't want to go into it very deeply, but here's what I would ask of you: is it used to be, you had to have boots on the ground in Vietnam. Okay, we had to go through and prove that. All right. Now, what's going to come out is the ships included now. Think of a ship being within a 12-mile limit off the coast of Vietnam. Okay, now how are we going to figure that out? For the last, I think it's about 9 months, VA and central office has been working with DOD, literally ship's logs, data points. There's some government agency called geospatial mapping. It's all there, okay? They're getting it all together. We've already processed some cases, but what I would ask you to do is, if you know of a veteran who is in the Navy, who is 12 mile on a ship that he thinks was within the 12-mile limit, you better get him to come and see us. That being said, also, any widow who may have applied for DIC, any dependents who husband may have passed away from something related secondary to Agent Orange, have them file a claim. You all right with that? Yeah. Outstanding. It's really exciting. We've waited, we've waited such a long time to have the veterans not have to wait for this anymore. Because it's difficult to, sometimes it's extremely difficult to verify boots on the ground in Vietnam. All right, so please, please, please. I want to see some sweat coming off that DAV office with Brian in it. All right, he is leaning forward, waiting to serve you. I'll tell you, you could not have a better representative for your organization in our house working to serve veterans. The guy's relentless. All right. If I don't see him every day, it's at least every other day. I look out the window. I don't even think he even takes time off. He's there. All right. So I really appreciate that. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was appeals. So when I came to see you last year, I don't want to throw too many numbers out at you, but I got to throw a couple. Last year, when I came and saw you, there was about 400 nationally. There was about 400,000 appeal cases pending. All right, with the Board of Veterans Appeals in Washington. Okay, so obviously there's been some changes in appeals legislation. Out of that 400,000 last year, Wisconsin had about 6,500. How do I know that? Because we process them in our office. All right, so fast forward a year now, nationally there's about 210,000. What are we at in Wisconsin? 2,910. Huge progress. Okay, these are the older legacy appeals that were filed in the older system before the legislation changed. We're making progress. It's not as fast as all of us want, but it's true. You can feel it, the veterans can feel it, which is long, long, long overdue. So I'm really happy about that. Last thing, a couple other things I want to point out. Although I guess I would be eligible to compete in the Golden Age Games. I gotta tell you, a lot of people don't know this. The Golden Age Games, or the Veteran Special Events, are pretty much dedicated to not only veterans, but they're administrated and orchestrated by the hospital side, okay, VHA. I had a great opportunity, it was about 10 years of my career. I could take off my VA Regional Office Director hat and be a national official for the Golden Age Games. I ran air rifle, I ran shot put, javelin, discus. I'm not the same person. It's a huge event. And any way you can get involved, you will walk away from there standing tall and feeling good. So Madison's got it. It's a great thing. Last thing I want to touch on is suicide prevention. I know you've heard a lot about that, but I'm going to go from a little different angle. Okay? Out of those 20, 2/3 of those, the largest group that commits suicide, are veterans that are 50 years old or older. Okay? So think about that. I think maybe sometimes our perception is that these 20 a day, which is too much by anybody's imagination, are younger veterans struggling to reintegrate after coming out of service into society. That's not the case all the time. That's not to say there's not younger veterans committing suicide, but the overwhelming majority, the larger number, are veterans that are 50 years old or older. I'm in that group. You know people in that group. Okay, so as you're talking amongst your posts and interacting and being the veterans advocates that we all are, just keep that in mind and look for those signs maybe in somebody that you didn't expect to see it. So, lastly, I want to thank all of you for all of the support you've given me. over the years. I'm not going anywhere. I love this place. I might have been born in Michigan, but you guys have treated me like a king. And my wife, she's back there, she'll tell you the same thing. So thank you. God bless you, and have a great convention. Thanks.